Hi, I'm Jeff Foxworthy, and welcome to GameKeeper Podcast. If you want to learn more about farming for wildlife and habitat management, then, buddy, you are in the right place. Join the GameKeeper crew direct from Mossy Land Enhancement Studio as they discuss the latest wildlife and habitat management practices, news, and, of course, hunting. There's no telling what you'll learn, but I'm going to tell you, I bet it's interesting. Enjoy.
We're live in 3, 2, 1.
All right, Jack counting us down.
That was a nice, energetic countdown.
It was, and I think Jack is all excited about our guest today. So,
well, good.
He's responsible. We've got a guest in the studio with us right now, and Jack, get the horn ready, Jack. Get the horn ready. Not yet, Jack, but we've got Devlin Hodges. Yeah.
All right.
So look. I don't know what he's more known for, being a world champion duck caller, and that rate's pretty high with us. Or
no
he's
doubt.
Also a football player. But, that's kind of a big deal, too.
It is a pretty big deal.
I'll tell you, I tell people that I'm a duck hunter that plays football.
There you go.
So.
Well, I tell you what, we're excited to have you. We've heard nothing but that you are a passionate waterfowler. And you're from Alabama. You're not far from here, and you've kind of traveled around, and we just want to hear your story.
Where do y'all want me to begin?
Well, before we do that, just park it right there. Let me just kind of set the table. So we got Dudley here, and Dudley looks pretty refreshed finally for once. And then when Lanny's sitting here, he's all excited, but he's angry that this duck season has gone down like it has. I tell
you what, I've lived up to being a true conservationist this duck season. It's the first time I think since I was probably 13 or 14. So
it's a sad day.
I have not been yet.
You have not gone.
I have not been yet.
Why?
Why? It's pretty bad. Well, I've got a son, and he is emphatic about shooting deer. So
Gotcha.
You got a little priority shift. So, but nonetheless, I've been keeping up with it through Daniel and Toxie and everybody else.
Hey, we were out there once together.
Yeah. No. Me? No,
that was
you hadn't
me.
seen me. You hadn't seen me.
I don't
get
know.
confused. Thought we were at South Bowman.
No, I was supposed to be there probably. I was there in spirit. That's the main thing.
You know what it was, Dan?
Y'all
We
talked
talked about it.
Yeah,
the whole
yeah,
bunch. That's what
yeah,
it was that
yeah,
day.
yeah.
So everybody hears we got Daniel Hayes sitting over there
Yeah.
in Tox's chair. And so Daniel's going to have a lot of questions. He is very inquisitive about football and whatnot. So we're going to put you on the hot seat over there.
Come on with it.
But and then we've got Devlin. We've got Jack running the board, which makes us all nervous, Devlin.
And
then
even
we've
more
got-
nervous, we've got Sam running the camera.
who's got 2 buttons to push, and more than likely he's going to push the wrong button. So that kind of sets the stage for today. And here we are doing and we want to welcome you to West Point, Mississippi, here at the
Absolutely.
Yeah, we
Thank
appreciate you taking the
GameKeepers
time.
studio.
Thank y'all for having me.
Oh,
It's,
absolutely.
It's been something I wanted to come down and check out for a while.
Good. What you think about the office in the studio?
Oh, dude, sweet. Come on now. It's sweet.
So is it true before the game, when you're out there with those earbuds and you're warming up, you're really listening to our podcast?
I am. How'd you know? I am, yeah.
Gets him fired up.
It gets me going. I mean, it's my pump-up music. Mossy GameKeeper podcast.
I totally get that.
Let's listen to some food plot content.
All right, before we get too far, we always talk about blood on the biologic, who's killed what, and there's one, Jack, ready the horns, but little Dudley killed a deer
in the
yesterday.
house.
Yeah, so we got to get little Dudley to listen to this, and we're all so proud of him.
Yeah, I'm proud of it.
Can you tell us the quick
break
story?
it down for us.
Real quick, we went out, hunted what I refer to as the big field at our family land. Got a bunch of radishes out there, and
Just the throw and mow spot?
oh yeah,
Oh,
all of my brassicas are done that way.
Gotcha.
But it was just down to the buzzer, and he was saying he wanted to wait for a buck, and then it was getting kind of late, and a couple does stepped out, and he was reaching for the gun. So we got it propped up, and he felt comfortable and pulled the trigger, and she ran and went down, and we got her in the field, and the bullet hole was right through the heart. Got to show it to him. He was all excited about that. So
That's good.
Good stuff.
Great memories.
he's fired up and ready to go back.
Well, good deal. Well, Daniel, did you kill a pintail the other day?
We did, finally. We hadn't killed a pintail all year, and then the last weekend finally got one. And I've been, any duck mounts that we have at the camp, they're always from when Dad was footing the bill for all the mounts. So I've never actually mounted a duck myself. So this year I've been I've got the prettiest guide wall, prettiest green head, and I wanted a pintail too, so I could have a hanging dead mount of, whatever. Haven't decided yet, but anyway, finally got one.
Yeah.
And yeah, we don't kill a lot of pintails down here, and
not much.
without killing a single one this year, you really start to drool every time you see one flying. So I'm glad we got one.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. We occasionally see them, especially late season,
Yeah,
but
they
they actually come in.
Yeah.
It's a rare thing. Yeah. So circling around. So I know you've been hunting. You can just look at you. You're kind of bleary eyed. You're tired. Look at what's been going on with you. How's that been going?
I mean, season's been good. I honestly haven't hunted as much as I wanted to this year. I've been doing some stuff, working on some stuff for the future. I mean, now like knowing my kind of schedule in the off season, I'm trying to find a way to do a little extra. I told Daniel I'm working on my real estate license.
Oh, nice.
Trying to get into Mossy properties.
Hey, man.
All that
That's
good
awesome.
We
stuff.
know some people.
Okay. So it was a good season though. It was cool. I enjoyed being up in Canada, hunting before I got down here, doing some field goose hunting, which is, something we don't do in Arkansas or Mississippi or Alabama. So that was different. It was fun. And I heard you talking earlier. I'm ready for turkeys.
Oh, man. I can hear them gobbling right now.
Do they have turkeys up there in Canada?
They do. Like Ontario, like up there, south of Ottawa, covered up in them. And they're huge because apparently they eat so much and get so big for the winter. Massive. So
Nice.
fired up about it.
Nice.
Wow, that's
pretty
good. Yes.
So what was this, the field goose hunting? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, just because I've grown up hunting Alabama, Arkansas,
Right.
down here in the southeast, and never really I've shot some Canada geese before, but never been out there and set up with
The flags and
with
digging
just
in and all that
layout
stuff.
blinds,
Yeah.
Canada goose decoys, and that was the only decoys we had. And man, up there it's supposedly the Arkansas duck hunting for geese is up there, and man, it was awesome. I mean, those suckers, they come down, they start doing, they call them maple leaf, where they kind of do that flip flop
waffling,
down,
that's what we call it.
waffling,
Yeah.
maple leafing, and you get a group of 50, right on top of you.
Breaking down.
Oh yeah, it was a good time. It was just cool because it was something different that I'm not used to,
Yeah.
and I'm ready to go back up there and shoot those again too.
Do they use those flags? Have you ever done that?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
Gets
the
their
flag thing
attention.
tripped me out when I was like, what are you doing?
They try to have me on the flag duty because
Yeah.
I'm a duck caller, not
Yeah.
really a goose caller.
Yeah.
I would do the flag. Like, no, don't do that.
You're waving that a little too hard.
Yeah, exactly.
So can you pick up a goose call and do it as easily as you can a duck call?
I've called a goose in, but I wouldn't say I'm very good at that.
The way I understand, it's a totally
It's
different,
totally
totally
it
different
is.
game.
Totally
It is.
different game. For me, personally.
And I'm clueless. We don't get migratory Canadas.
That's
down
what I'm
here,
saying.
so-
Yeah, get the early season local geese, but I've never really got on a goose call and said, "Hey, I'm going to practice at this and get good." But
Right. Well, growing up where you did, same thing for me.
So-
I shoot those ducks.
So where you are in Ottawa, how far from Jack Minor, where they ban those ducks, is Kingsville, Ontario. How far are you from there?
I think that's 2.5 hours, so it's not too far. And then I probably hunt an hour, 45 minutes, hour south of Ottawa, and they're always talking about the Jack Minor bans and whatnot. They actually don't ever really get any because that they would be traveling kind of northeast.
Yeah.
But they talk about them a lot.
Yeah, those are considered a big trophy. And then in that part of the world, he is so well thought of in Canada as a conservationist.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a really interesting story. So why don't we go back and why don't you tell us when you were just how did you get so interested in
Blowing a duck.
in blowing a duck call?
Yeah. So, I grew up, so we had never duck hunted until, I don't know, maybe I was 7 or 8. Our family tradition, Thanksgiving, would be go to Thanksgiving lunch, leave from there, and go to deer camp.
Going to camp.
And, probably the same as most of
It's
y'all.
a very common thing.
Exactly.
I love it.
Well, there was one year, my dad's buddy at work, he was like, "Man, y'all gotta try duck hunting. Y'all gotta try duck hunting. Just go duck hunting." So we went, and I didn't even take a gun at the time. I was probably, like I said, 7 or 8, so I didn't take a shotgun. We went to North Alabama, my granddad had bought all the stuff you need. Boat, waders, everything. We killed one mallard hen, I remember, and we thought it was the coolest thing because we seen quite a few, and so we killed one hen. I was like, man, this is so awesome. And then that next summer, we're like, well, let's get into it a little more. So we started duck hunting a little bit more. The summer after that is kind of when the whole duck calling started. So now I'm like, I think 10 or 11 around there, and we like we were talking about earlier, went to Wetumpka, Alabama for a little Ducks Unlimited banquet. They had a youth duck calling contest, and I didn't take my duck call with me, but they had a duck call in a goodie bag, and it was a Buck Gardner little polycarp. I think it was like a $25 duck call. And my granddad was like, hey, if you want to blow in a contest, I'll pay for your entry fee. I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, I'll do it. Anyways, long story short, I think there's 15, 20 kids in the contest, so I won it. And I was like I said, I was like 8 or 9, 10
with
years old.
the goodie bag.
So they were all blowing their fancy echoes and stuff from back in the day.
I don't know. I don't know what they were blowing, but I just know that I won. And I remember there was one kid who was 16, and I was like 9 or 10, and I was like, oh my gosh. And they handed me a $100 bill, and they're like,
oh yeah,
they're like, you won this. So $100 at 10 years old, you're like, man, I'm a millionaire. So started doing the contest, and then ended up meeting Butch Richenbach, and founder of R&T Duck Calls, and man, that's kind of how it all started. I won the junior worlds, and man, I tell people all the time, as much as I love shooting them and killing them, if I had to pick between a duck call and a shotgun, I'd pick a duck call 10 out of 10 times.
I understand 100%.
Absolutely.
So winning the state of Alabama qualified you to go to call in the junior world?
Well, so in the juniors, you don't really have to qualify. So, I mean, which is good because, I mean, you got kids from all over that would come. And I think the year that I won the contest, it might have been 25 or 30 callers. But I when I was younger, I used to travel all over, like the Southeast to contests. I remember I've been to Mississippi for contests, Tennessee, Alabama, Arkansas. And, I mean, every other weekend I was going to contest and, I would win one and get $100 and win another one, get $100. Oh man, this is awesome. And then started figuring out that my mom would probably take 50 of it from me for gas and whatnot. But once I got to the men's division, you got to start qualifying for the World Duck Calling Contest, and I've qualified twice, but haven't been able to blow in it because of some sports I had to play.
Football.
That sport.
Yeah. So it's nice knowing that like I'll be able to kind of like I know that no matter even I got football going on, but I know that I'll be able to be there for the duck calling contest. Mm-hmm. So I've been practicing. I'm gonna try to qualify and like I said, win a world championship again.
So do you think you've got like a musical ear that helps you when it comes to that?
I think so. Yeah, I like to say so. I mean, I feel like I can, I can hear somebody on a duck call and be like, man, he's really good. Or I can hear myself blow in the duck call and, I mean, that was a really good note. Like I know in contests, like when I mess up and when I don't. So I like to think I'd have one.
Hey, this is Bobby Cole. One of my favorite things to do as a gamekeeper is planting food plots for my deer. My OnX app helps me to determine the exact plot size to make sure I'm applying the right rate of biologic seed and fertilizer. Try it out for yourself and see. Use coupon code MossyOak to save 20% on your subscription to OnX.
What about your turkey calling? Because you said he didn't grow up turkey hunting, so it's just last year or the year before he was talking about just learning how to use a diaphragm calling.
Yeah. It needs a little work.
I thought he was going to be a pro.
Well, he's honest.
And I say that. I mean, I definitely called turkeys in. And I know, Daniel, you've told me that I think you said like 20% of killing a turkey's calling or 10%?
I can't make that claim. Tom Kelly says 12% of.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, obviously.
Woodsmanship in it.
A lot of woodsmanship that goes into turkey.
If you've ever heard me blow a mouth call, you know that it's not
that
lot.
big a deal.
Right. But I've been trying my whole life.
Yeah, Devlin said, I just assume if he's a champion duck caller, the first time he picks up a turkey call, it's just going to be like second nature. But he was trying to act like he he was having more trouble than I was expecting him to have.
Yeah,
But he also, you hold yourself to a high standard too.
Yeah, I've been having some trouble. I'd like to one day get to where I could do like the turkey calling, contest and duck calling. And I don't know if we'll get there, but I need some work. But it kills turkey, so that's all important.
That's the main thing.
That's a good trivia question. Are there any, I don't know.
Yeah,
are there any
I
guys
can
that
think
are
of
champion duck and turkey
Roy
calls?
Rhodes. Remember? Roy?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Talking about a
I mean, that was
name
a
from
long
the past.
time ago.
That's right. He sure was.
That's the only person I know that's done
One
it.
I think of too.
Yeah.
Glad you thought of that because I wouldn't have remembered it.
I've been thinking the whole time. Once Daniel started down that road, and it took me that long to pull it up.
That's pretty impressive trivia that
Yeah,
you
get
got.
your little ring-a-ding on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Right? Good job, Bobby.
So, but I've always heard people that blow in the world duck that they, and maybe it's because Eli Haydell was a saxophonist, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
But that musical ear helps.
There's a pitch and a rhythm to it. There's no question about it. You know what I mean? Even to turkey calling and duck calling. But duck calling is so much for, I think like air control.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where turkey calling with a mouth call is more how round your mouth is and what your lips are doing and everything else. So it is two different arts. I mean, not that I'm a master of it, but it's two different techniques for sure. But I learned how to duck call and how to turkey call in the same way, which is riding around with a call with me all the time.
Oh yeah,
that's what you do.
Yeah, that's definitely the best way. I mean, for anything, just keep
ride around, keep doing it.
And you're not bothering a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Dudley, you bother
I got kicked
us
out of
when
the
you're-
house.
Right.
Real young.
So while all this is going on, you're obviously playing sports, and you must be pretty good at it. But you end up getting a college scholarship, and you're playing quarterback, and
Yeah, tell us the football story.
yeah.
Man, so yeah, just I've always had, like when I was younger, I always had dreams, playing college football, playing the NFL, and like I grew up an Alabama fan, and when I started getting like recruited and whatnot, I was like, man, like I want to have an opportunity to play. It didn't have to be Alabama, and I just want to have an opportunity to have a chance to go to NFL. And I mean, looking back now, like I never would have guessed it went the way it went or the path that I took, and ended up going to Sanford University. My freshman year, I was a red shirt, so I didn't play. We got a new coach. We had Pat Sullivan my freshman year, and then we got a new coach, Chris Hatcher. And I mean, you couldn't asked for a better coach, and with his offense for myself. And ended up playing there for like 4 years, and had a lot of help, a lot of good receivers, talent around me, offensive line, everybody, coaches, defense. I got to name them all, and became the all-time FCS passing leader. Beat breaking Steve McNair's record.
Air McNair.
Wow.
Yeah,
So-
look at Dudley.
Wow.
And another piece of obscure trivia I didn't know until today, but when Sanford played at Mississippi State, he's like the second or third most total yards by a player behind Johnny Manziel. It was like a 60-50 game that Mississippi State won that Sanford almost pulled the upset off, but that was Devlin playing quarterback.
Yeah.
How
Wow.
about that?
We didn't know him back then, so now we're going to have to go back and pull it up.
Yeah.
Gotta
Small
go
world.
watch it.
Yeah.
Gotta go watch it. So.
You made everybody pucker up.
So yeah, I mean, had a good career in college, and I kept telling myself like I just want an opportunity. Like my whole time in college, I was like, I want an opportunity to play in the NFL. Just give me a chance. And after I broke the record, like I was sitting there, like man, like someone's gonna pick me up. Maybe get drafted in 7th round, like late, like because I knew I was a small school guy and all that. And the draft happened. Didn't get drafted. Nobody called me and said, hey, we want to sign you as a free agent. So I'm sitting there like, man, like, what's going on? Well, the Giants, New York Giants, had called me first. I was like, hey, we want you to come up to, like a tryout, a rookie minicamp tryout for the weekend. And I went up there and did all that. Well, the next weekend, I had to go to Pittsburgh for the same thing. So went up to Pittsburgh, same thing, had a tryout on the last day. And, like, I knew – I could tell that like I was doing really well. I could tell that they kind of liked me. It's actually, y'all may think I'm lying, but I promise you this is honest truth right here. The last day of the trial, we're sitting out there and I'm thinking, man, they may keep me. And like the practice facility sits right on the Allegheny River. And when I mean 3 mallards came and flew, and like, I'm not lying, they didn't just fly over, they like dipped down like right in front of us all and flew back up. And I said, oh my gosh.
That's
It's
your
been a
sign.
habit.
It's a sign.
I was like, is this a sign? And that's a true story, I promise. And they ended up keeping me. So I went through like the summer with them, like OTAs, went to training camp with them and had a really, really good training camp. Like, again, I was like, okay, like, maybe there's a chance they're going to keep me as, like, the third string quarterback, maybe put me on a practice squad. Well, so there's usually, like, there's, like, a first cut day, and then there's, like, kind of like a second cut day. But usually, like, if you make it through the first cut day, like, you kind of make the team. So that was on a Saturday. I didn't get the call. I didn't get cut that day. So I'm like, man, like, dude, I've done this. Like, man, this is awesome. Well, the next day I got cut on that second day. I'm like, well, daggum. So I go back home for a week. Within that week, I had already bought me a new duck hunt boat, getting ready for duck season.
I'm gonna do this thing.
And they called me back. Actually, let me say this first. The New York Jets, they called me, and they want me to come up for a workout. And I'm actually driving to the airport, and about halfway, my agent calls me, which my agent is actually a good Mississippi boy. He was Brett Favre's agent, and that's Bus Cook. And he called me and was like, hey, Pittsburgh wants to sign you. They want to sign you practice squad. There was no question. I got off the exit, made a U-turn, went back to my house, started packing my bags. Went to Pittsburgh. They had just got their butts beat by the Patriots, like bad. Like, I think they lost like 31-3. So went back to Pittsburgh, signed a practice squad, and then like 2 weeks later, Ben gets hurt, so they elevate me to the 53-man roster. And then like 2 weeks after that, Mason Rudolph gets knocked out against the Ravens. So I go in and play, and had a pretty good like second half. Like, should have won the game and went to overtime. And the week after that, that was my first start. It was against the LA Chargers. So, like, all the fans were like, oh, duck. They had duck calls in the stands, all that stuff. Well, we go out to LA, and we beat them. And then we had a bye week the next week. So I left. So that was on a Sunday. We come back to Pittsburgh. I leave on a Wednesday, and I go to Canada to go duck hunting. So that was like the greatest 10 days of my life. I started
I bet
NFL,
it
and then
was. I'm going duck hunting.
And then ended up playing a couple more games. I'm sure everyone knows about the Myles Garrett helmet over the head, the Mason Rudolph, and man, it's just it's awesome. I mean, Pittsburgh fans love me, and I mean, I appreciate them, and it's just awesome. Like, they're always tagging me, like, bring Duck back, and Duck this and all this, and man, it's great. It's something I'll never forget.
Lanny would have missed that because he doesn't watch football, but the Mason Rudolph, the guy that was playing for the Steelers in front of Duck, got bashed over the head with an opposing player's helmet.
Yeah.
And it's
In the game?
Oh, yeah.
We knew Duck at this point, so this was like the only time in my life where we're all watching the Steelers and we're just praying somebody gets hurt. And then this normally would have been a controversial play, but
and some ducks
Mason
flew
Rudolph's
by.
not
Bam!
listening to
That's
this,
what happened.
but we were pulling against him. He got hit, and then we're all like, yeah.
Ducks coming in.
It's like watching
That's awesome.
WWE. Take him out.
I was on the sideline, like, thinking to myself, like, knock him out.
So do the owners or coaches worry about you when do you say, hey, I'm going to go duck hunting, or do you just slip off and go?
I mean, they know I go. I don't think people, realize, like, especially like I hunt publicly and a lot. So I don't think they'd appreciate if they knew I was, racing boats at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
But
to the extent that you're hunting.
exactly. So I mean, they were always pretty cool about it. I mean, even now when I go to Ottawa, like the first week I was there, they're like, man, like, you found a place to hunt yet? Like, we'll hook you up. Like, coaches in professional sports are really good about, like, realizing, like, there's more to life than football.
And off time is so important.
Dude, very important. And I mean, I know NFL, like, you get 2 days off a week. You get usually Monday and Tuesday, and CFL, we get 2 days off a week, sometimes 3. So, man, like, off time's big, like, huge, and they're always like, man, get away from football, get away from football. And of course, I'm always like, I'm going hunting. I'm going hunting.
That's good. So that's a
So
really
what's a
cool
typical
story.
day like for it's just so foreign to me for a professional football player. What do you do in the morning?
Yeah. So, I mean, let's say there's a normal practice schedule, kind of day. Usually you get up around sometime between 7 and 8, depending on like which day it is. And you go up to the facility, usually get breakfast, get a little workout in, and then you probably have like 2 to 3 hours worth of like meetings, and you'll have like your position meetings. So like quarterbacks will meet, then you have like the whole offense will come together and meet. Then you may have a team meeting, and you usually have lunch. Sometimes some teams will have lunch after practice, but go to practice. Practices, I mean, they're never too long. I mean, usually an hour and a half, 2 hours, and in pro sports, they're very like, I wouldn't say laid back, but it's not like you're not hitting each other every play like in college or high school, and it's very like, I'm trying to think. I know this like strength coaches and stuff. They're always like, "Hey, your best ability is availability." So I mean, they never want guys to get hurt. It may be like tempo down a lot, and then go home, watch film, and then kind of just think about duck hunting a little bit.
Yeah,
and then do it
unwind
again.
and do it again.
I mean, that's not real different from what
No, it didn't.
normal people like us do.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
if we don't get our release on the weekend, we show up for work in a bad mood and we're not as productive.
No doubt, right? Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
No, it is cool.
Well, so is somebody there watching what you eat and telling you, "Hey, look, you putting on a few pounds, or you need to
add some or lose some, or whatever"?
Yeah, I mean, they have all that. They have all the resources you need, from nutritionists to what diet you need to be on to people helping you work out. I mean, if they knew what I ate during duck season, they probably wouldn't. They probably wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, I mean, they got everything you can ask for. I mean, they got mental health people. Most teams will have like people that'll help you. Like when you get to a new team, they'll have. I mean, they kind of have it set up. Like, hey, look, we got these couple places that you can live in. I mean, they help you so much on the field, but just as much off the field.
That's cool.
Did you ever have anybody that was like offended that you hunted? Because a lot of people don't really.
Man,
Duck hunting, most bird hunting is kind of more palatable.
Yeah,
It seems like
than
people don't get as
right.
bent out of shape about it if they don't know what we're talking about.
Man, not really. It was honestly cool. Like I remember like being in Pittsburgh. I mean, there were so many guys that were like so like interested in like hearing about like duck hunting and just hunting in general. I mean, some guys, they grew up in like L.A. and like Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, Juju would all the time be like, "Man, like dude, let's go hunting. Let's go hunt. Like, dude, I want to go." And I remember we took him fishing one time, and he was like, "Man, he was trying to reel the fish or reel his lure." He's like, "Dude, this is fun." Like, but you'd have a lot of people that had never grew up around it.
Yeah.
And, it just makes, at the time, you're sitting like, man, it's a blessing that I had my family and grew up where I did. I was able to do this because I mean, there's some people, man, that miss out on a lot of cool stuff.
There's a lot of them. Really are.
Well, that's good. They got to hang out with you and,
you
and
can
learn,
introduce it to
learn
them.
your ways.
Oh, absolutely.
The old beacon of light.
So let me ask you this. They tell me you got a place in Arkansas. And are you managing that for ducks? Or are you look like there's I see a little smirk there.
Yeah,
What's
I know.
going on?
I gotta hear this.
I'm just saying, I'm smirking because like I guess I got just a cabin out there. I mean, I'm working on getting some land out there, but I've been a big public land hunter. I've been hunting out there public land I'm 25, so I mean 12, 15 years, and I recently just bought a new place actually, and it's actually my residence in the off season. I mean, it's kind of where I kick it at. It's right by the White River.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to give like exact location for the people that listen because
I've already found it.
yeah. But man, I told Daniel I catch myself like every day, man. I'll be out there. I'll be on the internet just looking at land for sale, just looking at land. I love being outdoors in the land. Like I go on walks. Like when I'm in my cabin, I may go hunt in the morning, but then I may go for a walk just out through there because man, there's just so much beautiful things that God's created. And but no land yet, but working on it.
You got a place to
Okay,
park.
well,
right?
well, you got a place.
Yeah,
that's
all you need.
A place to
Yeah,
park.
a place to park.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the public land is it's so expansive, and you can, you got your house, you can go park your truck at an access gate and disappear for a day.
Oh,
and,
man.
and see something new every time you go.
Oh yeah, and there's like where like especially Arkansas for duck hunting, I feel like there's so much public land that you can hunt. Like a lot of people talk about how crowded it is and whatnot nowadays, but man, I've found so much, like, I've been able to get away from people. And I mean, I think you go 20 miles north to about 50 miles south. I mean, I think there's like 120,000 acres worth of public land on the White River that you can hunt. And it's just like, man, I know that I can get away from people. So, and that's usually where I have my success when it comes to killing ducks.
Yeah, no doubt
That's some
about it.
beautiful
Did y'all
terrain.
kill many ducks this year? Like getting out way away from the crowds where y'all weren't competing with anybody?
The time, I mean, this year, like, I didn't get to go as much as I wanted to, but like the times we did go and we got away from people, like, you may not see as many ducks, but the ones you see,
They work better.
you didn't have 5 or 6 groups calling at them and whatnot. So, and I mean, there's sometimes I'll get right in the middle of it all. I'm not afraid to get right in the middle of it all. I will, and I have done it. But when I can get away and kind of get maybe a little off the X or find my own like my own little X.
That sounds like something.
Ironic.
This week we've got the Onyx guys coming in here. The way you said
that's what I
that,
heard,
yeah. So Arkansas, somebody in a lot of states, people had a lot of forethought and set aside land. These public opportunities that most all states have. It's incredible. And Arkansas may have more than the average place, from what I'm understanding.
For duck hunting, I mean, it sounds like it. I mean,
For bottomland flooded hardwoods, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
for flooded timber, which is, I mean, that's what I hunt. I'd rather kill 10 mallards in a flooded timber any day as opposed to killing 50 scrap ducks out in the field. Like, it's
Yeah,
just,
now we don't kill. I mean, what's the limit, Lance? 4. We don't kill 10.
my group, I should say.
So, what did you have any hunting opportunities around Pitt when you were there?
They were tough ones.
Really?
Man, the waterfowl around Pitt, not the greatest. But now, like, I would drive like a couple times on my off day. Like, I wasn't scared to drive 2 hours east and go over to Ohio and get in some of those little river valleys and shoot geese and ducks. But you kind of had to go about 2 hours either direction to kind of get on some like pretty good duck hunting. I mean, now turkeys, I killed a turkey up there, a big one. I mounted it, and I went bow hunting a couple times. But you kind of, like I said, for ducks, you had to kind of get away, which was nice because I didn't want to be in Pittsburgh duck hunting. If they would have let me went like downtown where the 3 rivers come and connect, it was loaded with mallards. So
You could have tore them up
could
there.
have smoked them.
That's what made Sports Center with that for sure.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear him call.
Oh, of course.
So you got a meat call and you got a.
Yeah, I got a hunting call with me and I got a competition call, so I can do them both.
So I think what you ought to do is not just blow directly into that mic, but maybe stand up and let's see you kind of go through your routine.
Okay,
I bet he knows how all that works.
All right, here he goes.
Can y'all hear me a little bit?
Do I need to have these headphones on?
I'm gonna do the meat call first.
All right.
So that was a meat call.
Lanny, that sounded pretty good.
Oh, comeback, yeah.
I
I sat down in there.
How does he get that rasp in there?
This is a competition, so it's gonna get pretty loud.
That
was awesome.
Yeah, I'm
That
gonna
was
tell you.
awesome.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, that was good.
His meat call really sounded good.
Give us a judge of your performance today.
I mean, I'd probably give myself the world championship.
He's so modest.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
What's the difference in learning how and adjusting from hunt calling to competition calling? That's insanely loud.
Man, yeah. I've got it down to where it's kind of like a ride and bite now. Like you just kind of pick it up. But like when I first did it, man, it was just, it took a lot, like competition. It took a lot of practice. Like I had to really like getting that like long hell call, that ringing hell they call it. Like I had to really push air into it. And I mean, like y'all said earlier, it's a whole nother level of like air control with like a Main Street duck calling contest.
Is it hard when you're a kid learning how to call that loud? Because we didn't have not a lot of our friends did competitive calling. Brooks Tinsley was an incredible duck caller, and David Hawley, of course, got to go on David Letterman that time, turkey calling. But
that's true.
Yeah, it was. I was very fortunate to have like a lot of help, like I said, with Butch Richenbat, because man, a lot of people don't know, but like me and Butch were like this. Like the first time I met him, I went up to him and like it was the first time I was going to Arkansas for like a world duck calling contest. It was probably, I think it was 3 years before I'd won it. And I went up to him, I said, "Hey Butch, like I don't think I know what I'm doing as far as like a routine for it all, and so I like your help." He's like, "Well, let me see your call." And I gave him some call, which was it was a Dixieland call, a local guy from Alabama. And I remember Butch looking at it and he just threw it down. And
it needed pitching.
And he went back and got me a call, and I still have that call to this day. I got it like put away. And from then, like I would spend like a couple, like I'd go to his place, like I'd go back to R&T a couple times throughout the summer, and like would spend the whole weekend there, and Butch would teach me everything. And it got to the point where the year I won the contest, from that year until Butch passed away, which would have been my freshman year of college, I would go and stay at Butch's house the whole Thanksgiving week. So that's like, that's where all my connections with duck calling and meeting people all over the world that do duck calling, that's where it came from, was being at Butch's house. And so I was very fortunate enough to have someone like, you know, really teach me. I mean, someone
that's a world-class instructor.
No question about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
some people
not
would
only
say
one of the best.
Yeah. And it's funny, like people are like, "Man, so you got to hunt with Butch all the time?" And I'm like, man, I'd be like, Butch didn't really care about hunting. All he cared about was duck calling. That's all he cared about. He loved it. And man, that and baseball. He was a big baseball guy. So I was lucky to have him.
That's cool.
If only you could, I mean, was he impressed with you and your football skills?
I think he was. I know he was, but he got mad at me because my senior year of high school, I was already committed and signed to play football, and I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna play baseball this year. I'm gonna go run track. I'm gonna do track and field. I'm gonna help get faster. And I also was like, man, there's a lot more good-looking girls that do track. So
Make some moves.
Exactly. I did that, and he got so mad at me for not playing baseball that year. But I'm sure if he was here today, he would.
He'd be proud.
He'd be proud of him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, I tell you what, he can blow the heck out of that call. Yeah, I was wondering. I knew you'd be good to win, but you really do sound fantastic.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So you were a world famous duck caller before you were a world famous football player.
Yeah,
Football.
Absolutely. It's pretty. I mean, it's pretty cool because like when I was in Pittsburgh, and like even now, like I went back to Pittsburgh this season to go to this like little tailgate, and like man, I walk by and people like Doug, like everyone call Doug. That's what everyone calls me, and then like anyone that says Devlin, I like turn my head like, man, wait,
who's that?
Do I know you? Do I like really know you?
Yeah.
And it's just cool. I think it was cool to see the attention like the duck calling and duck hunting community kind of got when I was playing.
Oh, that's awesome.
I remember that, and it was a lot of attention.
No doubt
It really
about
was.
I remember seeing the duck calls in the stands. Loving them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've got a brother and sister-in-law that live in Pitt, and of course I contacted them for potential questions to ask you, and they got all excited. And, they referred to you as Doug. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I mean, my girlfriend calls me Duck now, and it's
Okay.
like, come on.
Well, that's a cool nickname.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this: like when I first got it, like I was a quarterback, right? So like quarterback and duck like didn't go together. I was like, man, why do these people call me Duck? And because you know when you throw a bad ball, people are like, oh, look at that duck.
That wounded duck.
Yeah. So,
I got you.
but it's worked out.
Yeah.
It's worked out.
Wow. Well, I'm just when he did that meat stuff, I'm still just fascinated by how well he did.
You should-
and that feeding chuckle, it sounded like there was a
good.
dozen ducks over there feeding and chuckling. That's really good.
I appreciate it.
You know, our own Dudley has
my
done
gosh.
some competition calling. And we've got one of his routines recorded. I was wondering if we could play it and you critique him and see how.
See what you think. See what you think about his routine.
Yeah,
Check it out.
this is a couple years back. Go ahead,
should I get
Jack.
like a-
If can you play that for us?
got it.
Oh, iron lung Dudley.
Phelps.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
What you think
That's
about
not my
that?
best.
That's him?
but
Yeah, I mean, yeah. What you think about that?
That's him.
That's all I can do.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's all I can do. I practice that one little riff over and over.
I'd probably give you like second place behind me. That's
Okay.
good.
In the world.
That's right.
Oh man.
All right.
We thought it might sound familiar.
I gotta know where y'all got that from.
Yeah. But, you know, you ought to you could recognize that if you pay attention
I
to
think
it.
I do.
Yeah, you do.
It sounds familiar.
Where did that come from?
That is Jack. That's Jack's ringtone. What is that, Jack? Is that a recording of Devlin?
Yeah.
Where was he?
Junior Worlds, I think.
That's right.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, Dudley.
that tells you it has not rained here in the last week because Jack was able to get on the internet and actually download
That's
something.
exactly right.
Appreciate it, Jack.
So that when in a competition, you're trying to show your range, you're from your low to your high. And that's what that hail call is all about.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, everyone's going to do the same exact like routine or whatnot, and you got 5 judges in the back, and they're going to take out the lowest score and the highest score. But yeah, just like you said, you're going to kind of just show like your performance. You know, kind of like I've heard people compare it to like a car show. Like you're not obviously, I'm not going to ever do that loud ringing in the duck line or in the duck woods, but just you're going to show the performance of like your call and like how, like you said, how loud you can get it. Not necessarily how loud.
Your
but
control.
Your
maybe.
control. Your
Right.
control.
Okay. Because so a guy never would use that. There's not a situation where you would use that hail call like that in the woods, is it?
I wouldn't. No.
Yeah.
But no, I mean people don't. And that's the thing. A lot of duck hunters, they don't enjoy the contest because they assume that those people are doing that while they're hunting, and that is just not the case. I mean, some of the guys that I know that, you know, I would say are killers, you know, kill the most ducks, you know, year to year, are some of the best competition callers, and it's not because they're doing that loud Main Street call. It's just because one, they're probably hunting in the right spot, but they're really good and know how and when to call ducks, which I think is the biggest thing, is knowing when to call. I know people that, I'm sure it's just, I mean, I'm beginning to learn it's the same with turkeys. Like, you ain't necessarily got to be the best, but if you know when to call, you're going to be a successful hunter.
So go through, tell us when you're in the woods, leaned up against a tree, and you're seeing ducks. What are you looking for? When do you call?
I mean, I guess it's just different. To me, like it's just different depending on like the time of the year it is. Like maybe if it's new ducks on a cold front, you know, versus late season birds that maybe are, you know, stale. And I mean, I always like to watch like the wing beats, and you know, depending on, I mean, especially public land, you'll get some bird, you'll get a group working that may be 10 or 15 birds, and you'll just start seeing other ducks, you know, settle in and start, you know, grouping them up. So, I mean, I really enjoy just like the feed call. I don't know why I've had more success like getting ducks to finish, you know, hitting some kind of little like that, you know, when they're right on top. So it kind of just varies depending on, like I said, time of year, the weather, the, you know, cold front or whatnot, sunny, like sun. I think ducks respond better in the sunshine than they do on a cloudy day. So I really just kind of take it day by day.
Good answer.
When do you call it a duck, Bobby?
Yeah, so it's usually like I'll be like, Lanny,
Never.
call it. So I guess it was last weekend, I was with Daniel and Toxie, and there was one lone male, one Drake Mallard came flying by, and Toxie just called to him, and that duck spun around and came straight. I mean, just like turned around 180 in the air immediately and came right back to us. One of the few times I've seen one that dramatically turn around and come back to us.
It seems like if you know when to hit them at that right moment, if they're too far, they're not going to turn around. But if you got good decoys and the sun's shining on them and the wind's blowing, you don't really need to call, but sometimes they're just passing by and not even paying you any attention.
There's a lot of variables. And you guys, y'all standing in the timber over in the Arkansas, somebody's making splashing. There's just a lot going on. It's more of a group effort, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you got like I say, people pulling the jerk cord, kicking the water. You may have like one guy, like I got a buddy who's kind of new into it, and he was like, man, I want to learn how to blow a duck call. And I gave him like a Drake whistle. I said, dude, we need someone that's on a Drake whistle. Yeah. And then also, I mean, you could have another group of hunters 200 yards away, trying to do the same thing. So there's a lot that goes into it.
No doubt about it. I was always told to call it a duck's butt. So when they're turning flying away, that's when you give it to them. Now, hail calls and stuff, but then feeding, when they're circling back, that's when you feed call to them.
Lanny can do a lot with his mouth. I mean, he can do a widgeon. You got that little whistle for a widgeon, pintail, and the gadwall.
I'm into birds, man.
Yeah. I've heard you done a few.
Do the little gadwall chuckle that you do sometimes.
The gadwall's the mac. I mean, that's just all it is. That's where mac comes from.
And it makes I've been with him and seen gadwall turn.
Oh, you and they'll just turn back on around. But to your point, it's so people ask to when to call it a duck. It's like you have to be watching the duck and where you are. It's so depending on where the wind is, where the sun is, where you are. I mean, it's not there's not exact science to it. It's just so dependent on all the variables that you deal with all the time. So
absolutely,
yeah. So Devlin, what what's interesting about your life? What do we miss? What do we need to ask you that we hadn't asked yet?
Oh man, I don't know. Daniel,
so I think this is a strategic move to get up to Canada to be able to hunt more. That's what I think.
How's that bottomland working up there in Canada?
I gotta say, Devlin, one of the strongest bottomland supporters in the whole country. He's got the only bottomland hockey jersey. He's working on a pair of bottomland Nikes that are 1 of 1. He wore a pair of bottomland cleats in a game when he played for the Steelers that a mallard painted on the side.
Yeah, I got the.
He's got quite a few.
I got an NWTF special with the sneakers. There's some Nike Air Force Ones. So they're gonna be bottomland. They're gonna be sweet.
Come on.
Yeah, he got quite a few 1 of 1 bottomland things.
But I still rock it up there because I'm sure Daniel, I know you saw it, but I went up there and I posted a picture from duck hunting up there, and I think I said like one thing I learned in Canada, bottomland still works up here. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I'm a big fan, and it means a lot to me. People always will ask me like on Instagram, like I'll do like ask me a question every now and then, and people be like, man, why do you wear a mossy oak? And man, it's always, to me, I mean, mossy oak is obviously more than a camouflage to me. I mean, you really feel like it's like a family. I mean, I've gotten to know Daniel over the past couple of years. We've grown close, and this hearing and listening and understanding the whole history behind it all, man, it's just awesome. And thank you. First of all, thank all you guys for all y'all do. It means a lot. It means a lot.
Thanks for coming by. I'm kind of surprised you didn't come a few days earlier to catch the tail end of the duck season.
I was out there. It wasn't that I wasn't hunting, so.
Well, what keeps most people from going on a duck hunt when they should? He was in Mexico with his girlfriend.
Hey,
what?
Yeah.
You gotta take care of business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I told her next year that's just not happening.
Mexico, wow.
But I might have linked into some people to go hunting with down there.
They got ducks.
They got a lot of ducks down there.
That's right. They sure do. Well, hey, look, we've heard so much about you, and this youngin over here, Jack Collett, he just jabbers about you all the time. So we were
As
excited.
much as Sissy talks so much.
Yeah, you can't hardly get a word in edgewise around him. Everybody knows that. But we've been excited to meet you. We've been hearing about some of
Big
your
fans.
exploits for
No doubt
years.
about it.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, and here you come walking in here wearing Bottomland. We knew he's one of
There you
one of
go.
us.
That's
Fits right in.
Yeah.
I got my Bottomland shoes on, my hat, my
He's
shirt.
ready.
I think I got underwear on the phone.
Yeah, well, I don't have to go there, but he does have a Mr. T starter kit on over there. It looks like he's got.
He's a bottomland bandito.
That's right. That's right.
Well, look. Why don't we do this? Let's just. We need to. We've got a commercial. We drop a commercial in here. One of our sponsors is Browning Firearms, and I think you shoot a Browning
I
firearm.
do.
So
If the trigger's gold, the bird will fold.
that is exactly right. So we're all proud of our relationship with Browning. They make some fantastic waterfowl guns. And,
Absolutely.
And
Longtime friends.
yeah, they've got a bunch of different guns, and the ones that are dipped, they are waterfowl tools,
Mm-hmm.
and that the synergy. I'm not sure what you shoot, Devlin. I didn't get a chance to ask you, but they've got so many different guns. The Maxus is so popular, and I love that they brought back the A5 a few years ago.
Have you seen the new A5 Sweet 16?
I've seen pictures of it. No, have you got one?
No.
Hey,
His head was
I
going
was
to
fixing
blow
to,
up.
yeah, good
But I'm going to have one.
I think they just dropped that at the
at SHOT
recent
Show.
SHOT
yeah.
Show.
And
yeah.
they got them in Bottomland, and man, I'm fired up about that.
Yeah.
16.
Yeah, so check out Browning.com if you get a chance to look at some of those guns, guys. And so this part of the show, we usually we have a Ask Dudley question. So I would love for you to stay. You can learn something, maybe.
Yeah.
Dudley will usually have some kind of good question here. What you got for us this week, Dudley?
Okay, well, Vandy forwarded me an email this morning, and he said this would be perfect, and I agree with him. So this is from Charlie Mullins.
Wait, hold up. You and Vandy agreed on something?
We actually agreed
okay,
on something, yeah. So I'll be replying to this email when I get back because he won't be able to hear this for about a week.
Or at least a week. Yeah.
So Charlie says, will the offspring of an oak tree produce acorns at the same time, month of the year as the parent tree? For example, there are some trees here in Galveston dropping acorns in January, and he said they're planted, landscape trees. Wondering if their offspring would also drop acorns in January if planted in the Texas Hill Country. I know y'all sell a bunch of seedlings from parents that produce early or later, but didn't know if it would apply to this situation since I was changing the environment so much. He says, thanks for all the great trees the last few years. They're doing really well, Charlie.
Go Charlie.
So, Charlie, this is a lot of what we do. And so while we're not really making controlled crosses for the most part, we're selecting from trees just like what you're talking about. So these are open pollinated. You really don't know who the pollen parent is. You're collecting from the female flowers that make the acorns, and you don't know where the pollen's coming from, but it greatly increases the chance. And my guess, a lot of live oaks, which I'm assuming this is what this is, if you're around Galveston, a lot of live oaks naturally drop late, and also a lot of them have an indeterminate drop. You know how like a Better Boy tomato will have green tomatoes and it'll also have ripe tomatoes on the tree at the same time? Well, certain live oak individuals do the same, and often you can find pockets of them where they all behave similarly. And what we know about live oaks is that they can handle being moved further north. I've found live oaks planted in the landscape as far north as Knoxville, Tennessee, which is pretty far north for a live oak, and their drop times are very similar when you compare to the ones closer to the coast. So my answer to that is you have a very good chance of those producing late further north in the Texas Hill Country. So I say go for it.
No doubt. Let us know how they do.
Yeah. maybe send us some acorns.
Yeah, we'll take some acorns.
So thanks, Charlie.
Devlin, we're just thrilled to have you here. Some others have already met you, but we want to wish you the best of luck. The Ottawa Redbacks, y'all start back in May, right?
Yep. Hey.
So we'll be cheering for you.
Yeah,
You'll have a bunch of Lanny. Well, we'll
I'm
probably
gonna watch some football.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. I'm pumped. Well, thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, well, and thank you for your support of Mossy Oak.
Yeah,
we love seeing you
absolutely.
wear bottomland and some of the posts that you make. That's awesome. We've got you a Levy sling to take back.
Put on that new
That's
brownie.
yours.
That's right.
And
I'll
also,
put it on that A5 Sweet 16.
That's what we got.
there you go. And look, here's from the Avery Heritage Collection as a bird carrier. So we know you got a lot of birds in your future. So this will be something you can take back home with you. We really appreciate you being here. And don't be a stranger. Stay in touch. When you get a property, if you got some questions, you email them to Dudley, and we might work them on the show.
And Sam usually cooks. He's running the camera now. We're going to get the kitchen done. Come by and eat with us and hang out anytime.
Oh, we'll do it again.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll do it again, no doubt.
Yeah, Daniel, have you got anything before we go? Anything you need to say or promote or talk about?
Two things. One, less important. The second is exciting. The first, my head's still spinning that I thought that I had hunted with Lanny this year when I hadn't.
Well, we spent a lot of time together in South Bowman
we've
for
been
years.
to South Bowman a lot. And
A whole lot.
Dudley for the first time this year, Bobby a few days ago, and people always, when I sprint after a duck when the water's shallow and I'm high stepping, people always say, "Oh man, he looks like Lanny running out there." So my brain's just getting confused in the two. I got low on oxygen last time. I had to run like 400 yards for a duck. Second,
I hate I wasn't there with you.
I know. Second, way more important, Miss Robbie Wilburn, her 30th work anniversary is February 3rd.
Awesome.
Anybody that knows Miss Robbie,
Very
she's
special human.
an
Yes.
angel. She's
No,
one of the
no doubt
sweetest
about it.
ladies on the whole planet, and she's right there next to Grand as far as early seamstresses that had a huge impact on Mossy Oak, and she'd been at Mossy Oak forever in the same little sewing room.
She can do anything with fabric.
Yes.
and it's
She's
all
incredible.
machine.
She's so
incredible.
nice. I mean, there's no time where you go see her and it doesn't make your day a little better.
Yeah, no, she's awesome.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. So Miss Robbie, well, we all need to say something to her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Miss Robbie's got a tree in her yard that was planted early on when the nursery was new, and now we're collecting acorns from it.
Look at there.
That's cool.
So
Yeah, that really is. Devlin, I'm going to look at you last. You got anything else you want to say? A shout out to somebody? Or
Hey, just thank y'all again for having me. Shout out to Mossy Oak Bottomland.
There you go.
yeah, hashtag.
Hashtag.
He's got all these. Did you hear him talking about kicking it and all that? He's
young,
and
man.
hip.
He's young. He's young.
Yeah. Now let me just say, but do I have this right? Is he dripping over there, or is he drip?
I'd have to ask Sam. What is that,
Sam,
Sam?
what is it?
Drip.
It's drip.
I'm gonna get it right one of these days. So, all right, guys, this has been fun. We really enjoyed it,
that was
and
absolutely.
we'd love to have you come back anytime.
We'll do it.
Yeah. So why don't you say goodbye, Dudley?
goodbye, Dudley.
Get us out of here, John Wayne.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the Gamekeeper Podcast, and be sure to tune in again. Subscribe to Gamekeeper Farming for Wildlife magazine, and don't miss the Mossy Oak Properties Fistful of Dirt podcast with my good buddy, Ronnie Cuz Strickland.